stared at me, not in passing, not casually. He noticed. Through a shirt, through the light breeze of a quiet afternoon in my own garden. And then he said something. He walked up to me, not angry, not polite, just entitled. Like he had a claim to my body. Like he had a say in how I existed in the space I paid for, lived in, relaxed in. His words were simple. Something about how I shouldn't sit outside like that. That being sitting in a shirt without a bra. I froze. For a moment, I forgot I was a grown adult, that I was in my own home, that I had the right to feel comfortable. I mumbled something. An apology, I think. I didn't even mean it. It just spilled out like some conditioned reflex. Something to diffuse the moment, to escape. But later, alone inside, the shame started creeping in. Not for my body, not for my decision to be braless, but for apologizing to a man who had been staring at my chest long enough to make a judgment about it. And I wondered, am I about to be humiliated further? Would he post about it in our complex's Facebook group? Would my neighbors whisper about me? Would I become the subject of neighborhood gossip just for wearing a shirt? This is my story. And I didn't think it would be one worth telling. Not compared to the heartbreak, betrayal, or chaos you hear on AITA threads. But somehow, it's become all of that, and something even deeper. We live in a residential complex. Not huge, not tiny. Just one of those tight enough to recognize faces, loose enough to avoid names kind of places. Each unit has its own garden, partitioned by medium-height bushes. The kind of bushes that offer privacy if you want to ignore your neighbors, but transparency if you choose not to. That afternoon, I was sitting outside. It was warm, and I had thrown on one of my soft white t-shirts, loose, breathable, with rainbow kittens printed across the front. I was wearing long pants. I had a drink beside me, my phone. And for the first time all day, I felt like my body wasn't being squeezed, poked, or confined. I felt human, safe. I didn't know anyone was watching me. I certainly wasn't trying to be seen. That man, the neighbor, he approached like he'd been rehearsing, like he'd built up the courage. Maybe he thought he was being polite, but there was nothing polite about it. What he said wasn't just about a bra. It was about control, about shame, about a woman being told that her comfort makes others uncomfortable. Afterward, I kept replaying the interaction. Not because I wanted to, but because something about it felt wrong. Like a splinter under the skin you can't quite pull out. I thought, okay, maybe I was being a little inconsiderate. Maybe it was too visible. But then I remembered, this is my garden. These are my clothes. And even if I had been walking down the street, it's not illegal to be braless. It's not offensive. It's not even remarkable, unless someone chooses to make it that way. And he did. I started reading through the community Facebook group, half expecting a passive-aggressive post to pop up. Something like, some people should have more respect for shared spaces, or inappropriate behavior seen from certain gardens. But there was nothing. Silence, which was somehow worse. It meant the tension was just sitting there, unspoken, but simmering. I considered being preemptive, writing a post myself. Something vague but sharp. To the person in our complex who feels entitled to comment on women's undergarments, maybe spend less time peering into gardens and more time minding your own business. I drafted it, deleted it, drafted again, deleted again. I didn't want to make it a spectacle, but I also didn't want to disappear inside my own shame. I wanted to reclaim something. My body, my space, my voice. Then I started wondering, why was this affecting me so deeply? The truth is, this wasn't just about this moment. It was about a lifetime of being policed, told to cover up, to hide, to apologize for making others uncomfortable with my existence. From middle school dress codes that labeled shoulders as distractions, to workplace codes that treated modesty as morality, to random men who thought commenting on my body was a social norm. This moment was just the latest reminder that my body, even when fully clothed, is not mine in the eyes of people who feel entitled to it. I told a friend. She laughed, not out of mockery, just recognition. I haven't worn a bra in 10 years, she said. Let him try that on and see how it feels. Another friend suggested I post a photo of my back patio and caption it, "Be on the lookout." Apparently someone's spending their afternoon checking out braless women and reporting them like they're solving crimes. It felt good to joke. For a minute, but deep down, I wasn't angry. I was tired. Tired of men. And let's be honest, it's usually men, mistaking their discomfort for authority, mistaking their wandering eyes for moral outrage. The next day, I went out into the garden again. Same shirt, same body, this time with a little more defiance. I saw him in the shared path. He avoided eye contact. Maybe he felt awkward. Maybe he realized he crossed a line. Or maybe he was waiting for me to say something. I didn't. Not yet. But I thought about what I could say if the moment came. Why were you looking so hard that you noticed I wasn't wearing a bra? Would it help if I started charging admission? Tell you what, I'll wear a bra when you start wearing a cup. Deal? But none of those would land the way I wanted. What I really wanted to say was this. I've spent too much of my life shrinking myself to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. I'm done apologizing for taking up space. Maybe I'll say it someday. Maybe I won't have to. What surprised me most was how many women shared similar stories. Not just about bras, but about being shamed for existing, for being in pajamas in their own kitchen, for sunbathing in their own yard, for breastfeeding in public, for relaxing, as if womanhood comes with a disclaimer. Warning, your comfort may offend others. So now, every time I sit outside, I remind myself, you are not the problem. The problem is a culture that teaches women to monitor their bodies while excusing men who monitor ours. The problem is the idea that dignity is found in silence. But today, I sat outside again, braless, calm, free, and if he ever brings it up again, I'm ready. So, am I the asshole? Was I the asshole for sitting braless in my own garden, wearing a shirt, hurting no one, just existing? Or was he the one who crossed the line by deciding that his eyes and his opinions matter more than my autonomy? You tell me. This story isn't just about a neighbor, a garden, or a bra. It's about power, control, and the quiet ways society teaches women to second-guess their own comfort. What starts as a comment about clothing can quickly spiral into a moment of shame, especially when someone uses authority or fear to enforce their own discomfort. But here's the truth. You do not owe the world an apology for being comfortable in your own body. This story resonates because it's about more than just one woman. It's about all of us who have ever felt scrutinized, judged, or reduced for how we simply exist. So now we want to hear from you. Have you ever been made to feel small for doing something perfectly normal? Have you ever apologized when you shouldn't have, just to avoid conflict? Drop a comment. Share your thoughts. Because the more we talk about these moments, the more we take our power back. And maybe, just maybe, we'll start to rewrite the rules of what's acceptable. One story at a time. This is AITA Stories, and we'll see you in the next one.